Hey folks, did you hear the ridiculous news coming out of the Trudeau government's latest budget? Yes, they have more than $40 billion in deficit, but tucked deep within the budget there is another thing. The CBC, the government-funded broadcaster here in Canada, is getting an extra $42 million of your dollars. Yes, that's right. Even though the viewership is declining, even though trust in the media is also declining along with government funding of the media, the Trudeau government isn't reading the room. They've turned around and they've handed $42 million extra to the CBC. So keep in mind that the CBC takes around $1.4 billion from Canadian taxpayers every single year. To put that in context, we could instead pay for the salaries of around 7,000 plumbers and 7,000 paramedics for the entire year instead of paying for the CBC. Also really important here is that the CBC is tone deaf. So while people are tuning out of their program, while people are struggling to afford the basics, and there's more heat on the CBC for the amount of money they take from taxpayers, they turn around and they hand out millions of dollars in bonuses each year. So for the last few years, they've handed out $14 million here, $15 million there in bonuses. This was such an issue that the CEO of the CBC, Catherine Tait, was dragged in front of the Heritage Committee on Parliament Hill in Ottawa earlier this year. It was really a sight to behold, because up until recently, that was kind of taboo to take on the CBC's CEO and start grilling her with questions. What was interesting there is that Tait would not commit to canceling future bonuses, even though viewership is totally declining, meaning they're not actually doing their job. They're supposed to be broadcasting to Canadians. And if Canadians aren't watching, then how can they be sure that they're doing a great job? Why are they handing out bonuses? So she refused to even commit to that, even though she was being asked so by MPs. And here's the other thing that made me laugh out loud. So the members of Parliament, I'm paraphrasing, basically said something like, wow, so few people are watching the CBC now, meaning your ratings, your viewership is taking a nosedive. That's really bad. And Tait said something to the effect of, oh, but we're making up for it in our CBC use of the app called GEM. So we're getting so many people banging our door down to please use the CBC app called GEM that it's making up for the lost viewership in television. Okay, that sounds fine. So how many subscribers do you have to GEM? She refused to release that information. See how that worked? So viewership in TV is going down, but the CEO, Scouts Honor, says that they're making up for it by the use of the app, of the GEM app. But she won't tell you how many people. That's like the kid in elementary school that I used to know way back when, who swore he could turn invisible, just not when you're looking at him. So, folks, this is a huge, silly, ridiculous waste of money. Wanted to let you know that the CBC is now taking $42 million more from taxpayers. Folks, these politicians have got to get this message because they're not hearing it right now. And that is why we here at the Canadian Taxpayers Federation will continue to push and fight to defund the CBC.